Okay, welcome again to this video lectures. Today, as we recover the old system, right? Okay, so as mentioned previously, bone and cartilage are connective tissues. You know that. Let's review these two tissues and the different types that exist. So here we have the objectives of today. This is going to be split into two lectures. So first we will review the bones and the bone tissue, and then we will review how the bone is made. That is called osteogenesis, and just a few slides on the cartilage, which is a bit more simple. Okay, so in bone, first thing we have to know is that the cells are well apart, very separated by a matrix, and this matrix is made of 15% water, 30% collagen fibers. This is what is going to give some elasticity to the bone, and 55% are mineral salts. This is what makes the bone hard. All right. You know, all connective tissues, they are made of cells and an extracellular matrix. So here we have four types of cells we are going to review right now. First, we have osteogenic cells, which are the progenitor cells. They are poorly differentiated but actively dividing, and that will become they will become osteoblasts. Bone is lined inside and outside, but are membranes. They are named endosteum and periosteum, and in those membranes, these cells are located. Osteoblasts are the bone cells that secrete the osteoid matrix and the collagen fibers that will later mineralize to produce hard bone, but in this case they can't divide anymore. Once the matrix mineralizes, osteoblasts will transform into osteocytes, which are the mature bone cells responsible for maintenance of the bone. Okay, they are not very active. Finally, we have osteoclasts, and these are different from the other three in the sense that they come from a different type of cell. They come from monocytes, and the monocyte is a blood cell that carry out this constant resorption of the bone because adult bone is always being remodeled, right? It's resorbed and built again and again and again constantly. So after a few years, all your bone has been substituted by a new bone, right? When osteoblasts become osteocytes due to calcification of the matrix, those cells stay in what we call a lacuna, and they are in communication with what we call a Haversian canal that houses the blood vessel that nourishes all the osteocytes. Around the Haversian canal, bone is calcified in rings that remember a cut tree. These circles of bone are named lamella, and they have canaliculi radiating from every osteocyte and connecting one osteocyte to the other, and with the Haversian canal in the center. This cut tree structure is known as an osteon. Haversian canals connect to each other through horizontal tubes that we called Volkmann's canals. All right, so we have two types of canals here. For instance, here you have a close picture of 3 or 4 lamella of an osteon, and you can see the osteocytes inside their lacuna, and this tiny, very thin, they look like hair, These are the canaliculi that connect one osteocyte to the next one. And here you have these round osteons. They look like cut trees, okay, with a black dot in the center. All right, so here you see the red arrows. They are pointing at a Volkmann's canal, right? So it's connecting one Haversian canal with the other, right? And the one in the bottom is connecting three Haversian canals together. The bone matrix is mainly made of hydroxyapatite. Also, there is some calcium carbonate and, of course, the collagen fibers. These collagen fibers are essential for the calcification process. There is a congenital defect of collagen that results in soft bones, and is a disease that is known as osteogenesis imperfecta. You probably heard about it. Bones need a proper balance where salts provide hardness and collagen resistance to tension, right? So collagen is giving the bones some elasticity, otherwise they would break easily. Bones also, they have a hollow part inside where they house the bone marrow that produces all the blood cells in an adult. All right, in the embryo and young kids, the blood is produced mainly by the liver. But then, as soon as they ossify, because the bones in the beginning they are mainly cartilage, but as they ossify, this function changes from the liver into the bone marrow of the bones. And we can distinguish two types of bone regarding these inner spaces, all right? So if they are big or they are small. So we have spongy bone and we have compact bone. Compact bone, also named cortical, is the one organized in Haversian systems or osteons, where the blood vessels, nerves, lymphatics are located in that central Haversian canal. Compact means that has small spaces. So this is due to an intense mineralization. So it is 50% hydroxyapatite and 50% collagen and glucosaminoglycans. Here you have a couple of images showing the structure of an osteon with its lamella, the central blood vessel, the osteocytes in the lacuna, and the canaliculi connecting each osteocyte. In one images, you can see complete round osteons which are newly formed, and what is named interstitial lamella that represent the remaining of old osteons that were resorbed during the constant bone remodeling. Spongy bone is also named trabecular or cancellous, and it's not organized in osteons but in trabecula. Trabecula live bigger inner spaces where the red bone marrow is located, and it also serves to make bones a bit lighter, right? Otherwise we would be too heavy. Although light, spongy bone is very resistant because the trabecula are oriented along the loading lines. We saw this, if you remember, when talking about the vertebra in Human Structure and Function 1. All right, the vertebra inside, they have several trabecular systems that make them so resistant. Okay, so this type of bone is located inside flat bones and also at the epiphysis of long bones, and of course the vertebra. As mentioned before, these inner spaces are lined with endosteum that contains osteogenic cells and osteoblasts. Less frequent at this level are osteoclasts that resorb bone. At the outer surface of the bone, we have the periosteum, which has an outer fibrous layer of collagen and fibroblasts, and an inner layer which are where the osteogenic cells are located. When a bond breaks, these cells get dramatically activated and can start to repair the fracture. Here you have a hollow inner space in compact bone where we can distinguish the osteoblasts of the endosteum, okay, they are building the bone. So they are building an osteon. If you see, the perimeter of this structure, they already have one lamella made, and they are making lamellas towards the center, all right, until the vessel that you can see in the neighboring osteons, the vessel gets kind of entrapped there. And here, a very active osteogenic layer of periosteum that is making new bone. Okay, we can see also the big dots, pink dots, the big ones, those are osteoclasts. Here we can see the osteoid being secreted by a line of osteoblasts. So the osteoid is the thin light line below the cells. Then this osteoid has to mineralize, of course, and that's how the bone grows. The periosteum is hardly attached to the bone by a special collagen fiber that we know as Sharpie fibers, and you can see them in this image, how they transit from, they attach the periosteum to the bone. In the left image, you can see some osteoclasts which result from several monocytes merging together. You can even see several nuclei in those bond resorbing cells, just on top in the left image. Also, osteoblasts rebuilding atrabecular are present. All right, so you can see them close to the trabecula in some areas. In the right image, we have a laminar trabecula of a spongy bone. So you can see this trabecula has around the big hole in the center is following that pattern of lamella, but it's not an osteon, okay? And here you have several osteons in compact bone with the central blood vessel, and in the right you have a magnified picture of an osteon showing all the lamella, the osteocytes, and you can see very clear all the canaliculi and the central Haversian canal. And let me finish with a table that shows the key facts of this lecture. So now we will continue with the osteogenesis and a few details about cartilage. Thank you for listening.